Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing your hosts, Kids at Hart.
That's cap. Totally cap. That means lie.
Chris Anthony Lopez wanted me to add that to our disposal, and literally 5 seconds before we started the show, I added it to our show. Hello, everybody. Chris is...
That's cap. Totally cap. That means lie. Been Boaz for a long time.
Wrestle Reel has officially become the AJ Styles show here. On Who Are They Real Entertainment?
Have we jumped the shark?
Perhaps. I don't know, man.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wrestle Reel.
A not live episode of Wrestle Reel, by the way.
Yes, if you just
I
you
am
can't tell.
currently out of town right now, which is funny because I think for our big special live stream tomorrow, in the context of this show, I'll be doing it from there or making my appearances from there. So it's like I'm all of our Wrestle Reel fans out there are probably like, why didn't you do the show live? All 4 of you who comment on the show. That was a joke, obviously. People but
First of all, if you do watch Wrestle Reel, thank you for checking out our pod. We were just two dweebs talking about some wrestling, and we had a hot streak of doing live shows. Yo, what the hell is that?
This is I won this at an arcade. It's a Pac-Man stress ball, and I just like to put up things and go. Wah, wah. But I'm losing my mind. It's 11:30, but I'll tell you, I had in like a Chris. You just did like 3 live streams or something like that in a row.
Just 2.
I had a long day of work, but you know what, everybody, we're freaking happy to be here. I'm happy to be here doing some freaking Wrestle Reel, man.
Dude, I'm so glad. I love our archive.
That's cap. Totally cap. That means lie.
We both went to go play it at the same time, so it was like Cap.
Cap. That the best part is that he points out what that means. That's.
You mean my son is Caucasian? Been Boaz for a long time. He's fat. 69 me done. 69 me.
We really just have like a bizarre lot of random clips.
Paycheck.
Give me a fucking mic.
We're going nuts.
It's just like we just have like, oh my gosh, this is the most off the wall friggin' intro to Wrestle Reel ever.
Oh my god.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wrestle Reel.
We're back. We're back at it. No, seriously. We had a hot streak of live shows, and we were doing good. But things happen, and you know what? And no, it's not you ruined it. The thing is, and just to be serious for a moment, real off brand for us here on Wrestle Reel.
That's cap.
That's cat.
I'm gonna play that every single time you say a lie like that.
But the world's opening back up, right? And we're getting our lives back, And after a year plus of doing a lot of this stuff, and Wrestle Reel didn't start really until September,
right?
But like the world's opening back up, and I've had a couple discussions with people. Like we're a lot of these things that people just did over the course of the pandy. They're just gonna be either hampered or they might end because of people's schedules and. Like I know Nick, like you make movies, like that's a thing. And I know you went through a little bit of a dry spell. You got back into it, with the COVID precautions and all the protocols and stuff. But there's a minute where you weren't doing anything. And same thing for me. I was doing jack shit. But so with all that being said, we're not ending the damn show. We're still doing some damn Wrestle Reel.
That's cap.
Just kidding.
Yeah, no, we're here, baby.
We're here. No, and trust me, just to be aware that was no shot taken at anything that's going on this channel. We love everybody here.
No. And that wasn't the intent. It was no.
So, and I don't think that it was. It's just me obviously mentioning that just because I played That's Cap after that. Right. This is a very serious Wrestle Reel moment.
One of our few.
Yes. But no, I don't think that the live show is like going away. I think it's just literally this week I couldn't do it,
Right.
and we're here right now, and like I said, excited to be here. I don't know how abbreviated this show is going to be because I know we both have to work in the morning, but hey, we're here right now. We have a very thrown together list of topics that actually really shaped out to be a great list of topics for today's show.
Right.
I'm really excited. And it's going to start off with a little NXT being a diamond in the rough.
Great segue.
I clicked the wrong one already. Wow, jeez.
See, we're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. But no, the Diamond Mine finally debuted, and we had no idea what the hell that was over the last few weeks.
Yes.
We've been playing vignettes like mother foes, and I almost had my one. I've been doing well. I've been doing well. But they've been playing vignettes, and we had no idea who the hell these people were. It's another stable, another faction within NXT. And it turns out
that it could have been Parker Bordeaux and something forming with him. And, everybody kind of thought that there was a plausible belief that a crop of younger, newer NXT crop, the two names that come to my mind are Bordeaux and Steiner. Rick Steiner's son is signed to the WWE, possibly could have been this. And then they go, hey, this is going to lead off Raw. This is going to lead off NXT. I'm going, oh, okay. So, I mean, I'm not watching live, unfortunately, this week, but I'm, on my Twitter waiting. And then Adam Cole starts off NXT. So I was thrown for a loop, but go on. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. So the main event was Kushida and Kyle O'Reilly, which that match ruled, by the way.
Non-title match, by the way.
Non-title match
for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah. O'Reilly went over.
Yes.
And O'Reilly got caught up in some Adam Cole shenanigans. But then out of nowhere, some man in a black hoodie started attacking Kushida. Who dare he? Like a black hoodied man? Like we've never seen that before in wrestling. And then the man de-hoods, and it's Roderick Strong, of all people. And we had seen Roddy quit NXT. So that's interesting.
Haired Roddy, by the way. This is
hair.
Head Roddy.
Yes. And then we see this very tall man enter the ring, and another person, and Malcolm Bivens also joins the fray. So we end up finding out that the Diamond Mine is Malcolm Bivens, Roderick Strong, Tyler Rust, and Hideki Suzuki. And this is another faction in NXT. And if it made me realize anything about the brand, I love me a good ass faction. This faction's gonna rule.
They need one, in my opinion. Like they always need one. It seems. You have the Undisputed Era for
like a faction. Okay.
Yes. You have the one that Swerve has kind of got going on.
Hit Row, baby.
What is it?
Hit Row.
Hit Row. Okay, yes. And I love them. I think that they're fantastic.
Swerve's gonna be the shit, man.
I think he's gonna be North American champion at some point, but. We're gonna have to wait to get there. I think that my boy Phantasma's got one more match in him. It's gonna be fantastic. I guess they haven't really gone 1-on-1, so I think that's gonna be a Great American Bash matchup, which is great that they're bringing Great American Bash back in time for 4th of July. But yeah, you talk about the faction part of it, the stable part of it, which is great. We all kind of thought Undisputed Era probably was going to make their debut on the main roster together. And then they don't. And then this happens. And it's kind of like, oh, well, all right. This is interesting. I kind of like where this is going. Can we talk about for a second the emphasis, not to be Josh Peck there for a second, that they are putting on the Cruiserweight title?
Yeah. The stuff with the Cruiserweight belt, just in its short run, in this run of this certain belt, it's been a weird. And when it was on Raw, I remember when they did the draft, they're like, oh, the Cruiserweight's going to be on Raw. And what a failed experiment that was. You gave them their own show. What a failed experiment that was. yes, you got folks wrestling on it every week, but like it has to be the least watched wrestling program that WWE releases every single week.
Next to like NXT UK, but yeah.
Right. But again, I think even NXT UK has a dedicated fan base.
Well,
we just don't see it because it's overseas.
Right. Correct.
But with them incorporating the belts onto NXT proper and making it the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, not only did you do that, but you're putting it on folks like El Hijo del Fantasma, who never became Santos Escobar, and now Kushida. And Kushida is somebody who had been floating around NXT for a minute looking for something to do.
Yes.
And you give him the belt, and that automatically makes it a big deal to me. And then you have them main event NXT with Kyle O'Reilly in a non-title match. But now it seems like after the Diamond Mine stuff that they're going to go the direction of, Roderick Strong is going to be a cruiserweight in the situation, unless it was just a one-off attack, which I doubt. Mm-hmm. But if that's the case, then fine. But I kind of want to see Roddy go for the Cruiserweight Championship and give Kushida something to do.
Well, Malcolm Bivens was holding the Cruiserweight Championship, acting like he was going to hand it to him. So I do think that is, and I do like the entire discussion of the Diamond Mine in general, but the prominence that NXT has given to the Cruiserweight Championship is that type of a thing that I wanted out of the Women's Tag Team Championships when they were brought into NXT, and seemingly I thought that they were going to be, delivered into NXT to maybe get some prominence back before they go back to the main roster.
Right.
Boy, was I wrong, though. Natalya and Tamina aren't anything to sneeze at when it comes to pushing the tag team championships maybe back into a little bit of prominence.
They just have no one to wrestle. They released
exactly
the women's.
They don't have any tag team championships anymore, or tag team wrestle. They don't even have any women's wrestlers anymore. Now that I think about it.
Shit. Yeah.
So, I feel like a lot of the things that I say are just people off today.
Real controversial, Nick Mulbach.
Well, okay, and I mean that in the regard
kidding.
WWE has like the best women's roster in the world, but like
I stand by it.
They just keep releasing them, and it doesn't make any sense. And we'll get to some of the things that they're doing with the women's wrestlers, Nikki Cross, in a next segment probably. We'll bring it up.
God, America.
It was her idea. But my point is like, Diamond Mine is incredibly exciting. I think you got a tag team in Rust and Suzuki, right? That seemingly seems to be the way that these things go. Is that like seemingly seems? Jeez, that just seems the way that these things go. Is that like you got the star, you got the tag team. Eventually, somebody's gonna break off, and then there's gonna be a feud, and they're never gonna stop fighting, like Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole.
Right, that's what it feels. That's the one thing I don't like about this. How long can you have two guys wrestle each other? They've had unsanctioned matches already, and all these different matches.
It would be different if they didn't do the unsanctioned match first. You know what I mean? Like I feel as though Gargano and Ciampa escalated into that Chicago street fight match that blew the roof off the place before they had matches, but they weren't to that point. Right. I feel like they started strong with Cole and O'Reilly, and now it just kind of feels like the same thing over and over again. Oh, well, they're beating each other up. They're beating each other up. They're beating each other up. In my opinion, if I had a prediction to this, and you can totally give one as well, this has nothing to do with Diamond Mine, but it has to do with that match.
Okay.
Is that there's going to be a stipulation put onto their next match, probably at the Great American Bash. Should it main event, I get it. And that is the loser leaves NXT. And Adam Cole goes to the main roster onto either SmackDown, hopefully, or Raw and makes his main roster debut. That's just, if I had to give by my own prediction status, they're probably going to both be released. But like I am If I had to guess, that's where this feud is going, where it will now push Kyle O'Reilly will eventually get that push that he deserves, and will push Roderick Strong now as the mainstay of what the Undisputed Era once was.
I'm glad that Roddy is the head of, at least wrestling wise, in this faction. I always loved Roderick Strong. I thought he was always underrated and underutilized.
Yes.
And when he had joined the Undisputed Era, first of all, it was a great moment at that takeover.
For sure.
But it also was the best thing for his career within NXT, because we're all familiar with Roderick because of his stuff at Ring of Honor. And we're like, yo, man, this man's the shit. Just give him an opportunity and he can really do something. And I feel like all four guys within UE, when they were a thing, they elevated each other. Like Fish, O'Reilly, Cole, and Strong, they all elevated one another. And Cole was the head of that. He was the established star, the Bullet Club guy, But all four of them were talented, and they still are talented in their own way. But Roderick was the one I thought lacked direction, because Fish had been off TV for a minute. He came back, but he hasn't really done much since. Maybe pair him back up with O'Reilly at some point, because they're a great tag team in their own right. I think it's a matter of time before Cole gets called up and unfortunately goes to Raw. We'll see how that goes.
I heard the rumor of SmackDown, which is why
I hope I'm wrong. But Strong was the one that was the question mark.
Yes.
And having him lead a faction like this, I mean, Tyler Rust, for those who don't know, Tyler Rust debuted around the same time as MSK, but MSK is the one that got all the love, and they fed Tyler Rust to Timothy Thatcher. So that was definitely something. And my man had been off TV since, at least to my knowledge. And then Hideki Suzuki, this man's a titan. Like this looking at him.
Dude's 41 years old. Like,
and he's I guess he's had matches with Walter before that, and just the idea of that, like, that scares the shit out of me. And I am over the moon to see how they handle this faction. Because like what you mentioned, they have the single star, Roderick. They have the tag team, presumably Tyler and Roderick. And then you have your muscle, the big guy in Suzuki. And you have your mouthpiece being Malcolm Bivens. And he's one of the most underutilized talents in NXT ever since he got signed. We've seen him on TV, yeah, but I still think he's being underutilized. I think Malcolm Bivens should be somebody that will make his way to the main roster, being someone's manager. He's a great mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And having him, because let's be real, I don't know Tyler Rust's promo ability. Same thing for Suzuki, but Roddy wasn't the strongest within the Undisputed Era or even in his solo stuff. But now that he has his edge, and you give him this new gimmick in the Diamond Mine, who are the Diamond Mine? Why are they called the Diamond Mine?
Yeah.
And you put Bivens at the front of that, really being the vocal point of this, the literal vocal point of this faction.
Right.
I think
he was in a suit when he made his debut.
Right. And you can do some great stuff with this. And like what you said earlier, I think NXT, they need a faction. And yes, they have Hit Row, so it's a matter of time before they clash.
Mm-hmm.
But I love me a good faction, especially in NXT. I think NXT, they nail them. I think Undisputed Era, they should be in the conversation for one of the best factions of all time.
Yeah.
Are they the NWO? No. Are they the Generation X? No. Are they the Shield? No. But damn close. They should be in the conversation because of their success and their reign. And remember, they had all four belts,
they did.
And they were the shit. Like, Undisputed Era was so good. And typically, like when we talk about AEW, like, the Elite has all the belts. That's so bad for their company. But when you had all the belts, you're all like,
we didn't feel like that at the time. And
even now, in hindsight,
to your point about the potential Hurt Row facing against Diamond Mine, you run the potential of them being able to swing a women's wrestler into there because Roderick Strong's wife is signed to the WWE.
Marina Shafir, yeah, dude.
So, there's they run the potential, because that was also a potential what people thought. So like the idea that Roddy was Diamond Mine was out there from the beginning. Like, that was one of the names that was thrown around, but it wasn't obviously in the context of this. It was Shafir and Roderick Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Was what people thought Diamond Mine possibly could have been. The only two things that I had heard was Bordeaux. Well, three. I'll throw Tessa Blanchard into there just because everybody thought at one point that maybe it was Tessa Blanchard. And, obviously that is going to be AEW's problem if it ever becomes one. But the thing is that, people thought it was either going to be Shafir and Strong or some form of a Parker Bordeaux debut. And it wasn't. It was what it was right now. Now, before we move on, unless you have anything else to say about Diamond. We'll throw a little dark match into here.
Oh, hit me.
What is this battery thing that's been going on NXT? Every single week we get a little percentage at the bottom of the screen, or at the bottom of a battery, and it's starting to fill up a little bit by little bit. I think it got up to 38% this week, and then it got up to 51% this week. So we thought every week maybe it was going to go up a little bit, but instead we got 2 promos for it. So who is coming back fully charged is the question. I had heard somebody say Keith Lee, and I'm like, no, he's not going back to NXT.
No way. No.
I heard that the Keith Lee issue is that his name isn't copywritten or something like his name is copywritten.
WWE and Keith Lee are both trying to copyright Keith Lee.
Okay.
And I think it's where the issue stems. Plus, my man's been on the shelf with injuries for the last God knows how long.
Exactly.
But who's coming back fully charged?
But who is going to be coming back fully charged? Who has been missing from NXT that this possibly even could be? Because frankly, I could not tell you. I haven't been. I mean, Bobby Fish came back. I didn't think that they would. I'm not trying to say anything negative about Bobby Fish, but I didn't think that they would waste promo time on him. You know what I mean?
Especially if he's already on TV.
Well, and then Roderick Strong came back with Diamond Mine. So,
I'm trying to think. Who are we interpreting this? Like maybe it's not someone coming back. It would make sense for someone to come back at full power. Ah, God. Are they swerving us? And maybe it's a lady? Because the whole
could be a lady. It could be a pay-per-view of some sort. NXT fully charged or TakeOver fully charged or something like that.
That's interesting. I'm trying to think. I off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. But yeah, we'll have to revisit that. But
is this Finn Balor for some reason?
No.
And they're wasting promo time on them. I'm looking through the NXT roster right now, and I can't particularly think of anybody that it possibly could be. It's very strange to me.
It could be someone new. It could be someone that we haven't met yet.
It could be somebody new, but to me, I'm looking at this thing going, is it really somebody new? Is Wade Barrett coming back to wrestling? That was just
they would have vignettes for him straight up.
I'm afraid I've got some bad. Or Wade Barrett is coming back to the WWE.
Yeah, paperwork.
But that said, Raw's just as stinky as it always is. Stinky is the word that I use to describe it.
Stinky.
And we have to talk a little bit of it leading into the next WWE pay-per-view. I teased it earlier. If you paused the video at the right time, I accidentally clicked it. Moving on to number 2.
Yo, I'm not going to front. I watched a bit of Raw this past week. And by a bit, I mean like a lot of it.
Good.
Raw was good, dude.
Raw was good? Or are you... So, okay, I have to ask, when you say Raw is good, do you mean
Raw was good
in
past Monday?
Raw was good in the context of the past few shows? Raw was good in the context of this is one of the better Raws that we've had in a long time?
That one.
Wow.
That's it. So, okay.
Are they writing Xavier Woods off TV?
I mean, my man has to go do like a bunch of stuff like G4 and stuff.
Right.
But I know it says Money in the Bank at the bottom, but I want to talk about Raw for a second. Because they had Matt Riddle, or excuse me, Riddle beat Drew McIntyre clean. That was cool. They had freaking Ricochet beat AJ Styles. Nuts. Okay, great. And they also had freaking John Morrison beat Randy Orton. And these are all good matches. And then the main event with Bobby Lashley, and I told you, another tick for Chris. They had a Hell in a Cell match on Raw.
Yeah.
And it was, Xavier Woods, people gotta stop sleeping. He's damn good.
He is.
Him
Consequences Creed is fantastic.
Yes, Consequences Creed's the shit. But his match with Bobby Lashley was really, really good. Mm-hmm. And of course, Bobby went over, and they confirmed that they're going to have Kofi Kingston, Bobby Lashley at Money in the Bank. That's going to be awesome. But Raw was genuinely good. But to tie it into Money in the Bank, they had those qualifier matches for Money in the Bank. We're starting to do that now.
Men and women.
Men and women's. So we got confirmed for the men, as I mentioned, Riddle, he beat McIntyre, shocker. Morrison beat Orton, shocker. And Ricochet beat Styles, shocker. Okay, great. And then for the women, you added Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, and her I'm a superhero now. And I cannot.
Here's what I'll say. Did Mighty Molly win the women's championship while she was Mighty Molly, or did she win it when she was Molly Holly? She won it when she was Molly Holly. I'm sorry, Nikki Cross. I love that you created your own creative gimmick. That's fantastic. You feel like you're a superhero because you beat a couple of people in some weird beat the clock challenge matches that don't make any sense. That's fantastic. I'm very glad. That said, listen, I'm ready.
Oh, and by the way,
the Hurricane's
Naomi
going to be coming back soon.
God. Naomi was the third lady to be added to the match for the women's Money in the Bank. So they had 3 of those. Oh, and excuse me, Asuka.
Yes. So that's probably the women's side is set.
The women's side's set 100%.
For Raw.
And I know on Monday they're doing the last chance triple threat, which is Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles. If they give that match some time, that could be the shit, dude.
I hope that AJ wins because AJ was a guy that I thought was going to potentially win. Now, I also watched and, more or less looked back on some segments of Raw. I thought that the segment that was the most damning and was odd was the backstage segment with Jinder Mahal and Sheamus and somebody else. I don't remember who. Some other people were there. And I remember that they were... What?
Was it Mansoor?
Probably Mansoor. I don't know. It was a bunch of people who were angry that they weren't involved in Money in the Bank qualifying matches. And I remember distinctively Jinder Mahal said this and this only. Well, if one of them was taken out, could one of us replace them? Which makes me think that, unfortunately, though Richard O'Shea did win his match, he's probably not making it to the match. That's just me. Or, and this shouldn't be the case, because this shouldn't be the way that they do it, Riddle will get taken out by Randy Orton. And they're already blowing, chunks all over the whole RK Bro experiment, even though it's been working very well. Mm-hmm. So, you already have merch. I remember when Y2AJ was a thing. Don't make me think that you're probably not going to completely destroy everything.
My shirt's somewhere. It's somewhere.
Love that, by the way. But, it makes me think that somebody isn't making it out of this match. And would you be totally pissed off if Jinder Mahal won Money in the Bank? With Shanky and Stabby helping him win.
You're asking the guy not to brag, but you're asking the guy who saw Jinder Mahal win the WWE Championship.
Not to brag, I own the Jinder Mahal T-shirt after I saw him in person standing right in front of me with the WWE Championship in his hands.
Yeah, that timeline.
Sorry, weird.
We weren't too far from each other. That was like the same stretch of 6 months.
Yeah.
But it wasn't 6 months, it was like 4. But still, Impressive nonetheless.
Lived in like the next state to each other our entire life.
It's probably like back-to-back shows. But would I be mad if he won? I wouldn't be mad. But with I was talking about this in front of the show, Jacob Picken, a couple days ago, and he said like, "Yo, the Rumbles were good this year, so that means Money in the Bank's gonna be bad." Because if you look back at WWE's track record, if the Rumbles are good, Money in the Bank's bad. If Money in the Bank's bad, or if Money in the Bank's good, the Rumbles are bad. It's a weird situation. And this year, if history repeats itself, Money in the Bank will be bad. And by bad, I mean like the victors will be men.
People that we don't want. Yeah.
Right. So if I can throw out some suggestions to fill out the rest of the card, I want to think that if anyone gets taken out from the Raw side, it'll be Matt Riddle, if anybody.
Because RK Bro,
like Randy, I don't think Randy will win the match on Monday. It'll either be McIntyre or Styles, and like Randy could be shitty, or you have Sheamus take him out, or vice versa, or you have somebody take out Matt Riddle, and you set that match up for Money in the Bank. Because I think if anyone makes it onto the card of the three that just qualified outside of that Money in the Bank match, it's going to be Matt Riddle. He'll have more to do. Like, it won't be Morrison, especially since The Miz is in a literal wheelchair, and Ricochet, whom my man only does like 60-minute Iron Man matches with Mustafa Ali on main event. So give him something to do, for the love of God. But if anyone's going to be Riddle, I hope not. But if it is, you can replace him with Jinder or Sheamus or etc. Now, SmackDown is more interesting, in my opinion, on both sides, on both the men and women's side. The women's side is awfully interesting. If I had to pick 4 off the top of the dome, Sasha, I think you continue the Bayley stuff for one more pay-per-view, and then if Sasha wins or not, the Money in the Bank, I think you do a triple threat at SummerSlam, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
I think Bayley beats Bianca if that's the case.
But we'll get there when we get
to that. I know.
I think Sasha will qualify, Liv Morgan will qualify, Carmella will qualify, and wildcard pick Mia Yim will make her way into this match.
That would be cool, because she doesn't really exist, because I'm refreshing my memory here and there when it comes to the roster. And unless she's under the name Shanky or whatever her name
is. It was Reckoning on...
Reckoning. Yep. She's not even listed on the SmackDown roster, unfortunately.
For now. And I know the draft has been a topic of conversation lately.
Yes, it has.
And when the draft comes around, maybe we can do a Wrestle Real fantasy draft. That'd be fun. But with the women's Money in the Bank, I think it's more clear because of how little women are on the SmackDown roster right now.
Yes,
I think you do your Morgans and your Carmellas and Banks to be like the star of the SmackDown side, but Mia Yim, if she debuts as Mia Yim and not freaking Apocalypse, then I think you can do something fun. Shit, she might win the damn thing. I think it'd be awfully refreshing to have Mia Yim win this in her first proper match on the main roster. Is it going to happen? Probably not. She probably won't be within 20 feet of this match, but I still think it'd be cool nonetheless.
I mean, here's the thing: is that I can count about 4 women on my hand when it comes to the women's roster. I don't think Sasha comes back yet, personally. And I think it's got to be Carmella, Liv, and then the tag team champions, because I don't think that you have anybody else beyond that point.
Both
you literally do not have anybody on the roster yet, because Bayley will be with Bianca, Carmella, then you got Liv Morgan.
She'll for sure be.
I don't think Sasha's there yet, and then you got Tamina and Natalya. You just it sucks. There's literally, and that's a big gripe, obviously, to have with the WWE right now, is just that, like, you don't have the women to, you have you can't have number 1 contenders matches on the women's side of SmackDown. Right. You can have them on Raw because you I guess you have enough people, but you have to do a tag team match because you need 2 people to qualify. But, you know, I'm glad that they filled their 4 out, right? It works. But, like, on the SmackDown side, unless you're debuting some NXT women, which perhaps you are, or
Maybe.
you're throwing Mia Yim into there, which would be fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
You don't have a lot of women's wrestlers in order to be able to qualify for it. I mean, like, could you have imagined, and do we ever get Mickie James in a Money in the Bank match?
I don't think so.
So, you know, it's a big missed opportunity. Her trash bag appeared on Impact Wrestling. We'll see whatever happens there. But yeah, in my opinion, it's almost inevitable that it's those 4 women because personally, I just think that Sasha will come back after
SummerSlam?
either Bayley or Bianca retains, and then you get your triple threat match. I think that triple threat match is inevitable. We'll get to that later.
Right. The men's side of things, though.
The men's side of things is
more
very
interesting.
up in the air. I have my 4, but I'll let you go first.
Okay.
I have 4 that like I have 4 and then I forget that Big E exists. You know what I mean? It's just like it's so tough to
it's hard.
pick 4. And you also have to there's a few things that play into my picks. But I'll let you go.
So Big E, that's I think that's my 1. Well, actually, let me take a step back because what this will actually, damn it, you know what? I'm just gonna commit. Big E, that's 1. Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, because you need to feed Roman somebody, or do you have Roman wrestling at Money in the Bank?
Yes. And here's in a way, yes. But I'm going to let you finish up your predictions because I'll explain my dilemma that I'm running.
Because part of me doesn't think Roman's going to wrestle at Money in the Bank.
And he very well might not. He's currently on a vacation with his wife or something.
And probably because of certain people coming back. And again, we'll get to that in a little bit. So E, Rollins, who did I say? Zayn, and Jimmy Uso.
Okay.
It pains me to leave off Cesaro. It pains me to leave him off. Damn it.
See, and it pains me to leave Big E off. Because I will replace Big E if my prediction for Roman's match happens.
Okay.
Because originally I went Cesaro. I didn't even have Rollins in mind.
Sheesh.
I went Cesaro, Zayn, Nakamura, my winner. And maybe I did and I said Dominic Mysterio.
Oh,
but I think that Dominic Mysterio could be facing against Roman Reigns at Monday Night.
Oh shit!
After what happened at SmackDown Hell in a Cell.
Oh my god!
So, and I honestly, I will literally lock that prediction in now, and then it's debatable as to whether it should be Big E or Seth Rollins because Big E's been off TV, and it's like just probably because they don't know what to do with him.
I think they're waiting. If he's not in this, they're waiting for the draft, and then they're going to send his ass to Raw.
That has been a rumor as well, that the New Day would be together, but they wouldn't be a tag team.
Right, it'd be more of a faction, or a stable, I should say.
As well, here's another name that you have to kind of throw out there. There's a few names that you could throw out there that would be interesting picks, and I'll leave my one that I would be leaving off that I'm having a hard time not putting into this match either. You could put Dolph Ziggler in there because he's won it before. You can't. Kevin Owens is taking time off right now.
Right.
King Corbin, I don't think it's gonna happen. Otis, again, he's a little bit creepy without his beard, and I don't like it. Robert Roode, he's Ziggler's partner. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Mm-mm.
The trickiest thing right now is what you do with Apollo Crews.
Oh, God bless America.
Because you're leaving 2 mid-card championships off of this match. In Sheamus and now Apollo Crews, which I think, again, is an inevitable issue that Apollo just doesn't fit into this match anywhere.
And so we also have to keep in mind that this is the first pay-per-view in front of a live crowd. So they're gonna stack it. They're gonna make this. I think it's probably why they put all the fan favorites in the match.
We could be looking at a 10-person Money in the Bank match. I don't know. I don't think so.
I think 8's the magic number.
Yes,
we should keep it to 4 a show.
8's a magic number, but but there was 10 in last year's weird match, right?
Yeah. And it was at HQ. So, and since looking back at that show was a lot of fun.
Kudos to WWE for trying something different, right?
Right. Good on them. And I think it worked. I mean, say what you want about the winner, at least the men's winner, about Otis, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good time. But if they keep E off TV, that'd be rough to exclude him from the first big show once fans are back in Texas. I don't want him to face Apollo Crews again.
And that's like, in my opinion,
you don't feed him the Roman Reigns.
That's the tricky thing is like either he's in this match or he faces Apollo Crews. It's a good problem that we're having right now. Is that the SmackDown roster, men's wise at least,
too good
is good enough to confuse us about this match.
Thank God.
The men's side, funny enough, wasn't as confusing, but then became confusing. Because in my opinion, the 3 men that are in that redemption match were the inevitable 3 picks that I would have thought about. Orton, if you want star power, having Orton, AJ Styles, and Drew McIntyre. Now, could Raw be the day that the Fiend comes back? I almost feel like we might need to transition into our next segment in order to be able to talk about this. So, Money in the Bank wise, what else do you got?
We'll wrap this up. So for the ladies, it's kind of plain and simple. I like your idea of putting. Do you put both members of the tag team or just one?
How do you not put both members of the tag team? I'm telling you. I'm looking at the women's roster. I'm looking at the women's roster of SmackDown right now, and the only 2 people that are not, or there's only 3 people that are not, viable for that match, and to me, it's Sasha, Bianca, and Bayley.
Oh my God!
Because I have a feeling
Carmella, Liv. I'm sticking with the Mia Yim, and dude, I think that match needs Sasha
and Harvey Whippleman.
I think that match needs Sasha. I'm going to commit to that too. But for the men's one, I'm glad it's difficult. I think an Uso will be a part of this unless they have the Usos take the tag belts off of Ziggler and Rude at Money in the Bank. Actually, I lied. I'm going to do that instead. So take Jimmy out of mine.
That would be great. And when the Usos face against the Mysterios, that will be.
Oh, I lied.
That's cap. Totally cap. That means lie.
They have the belts. I forgot.
Yeah.
The Mysterios have the belts.
It's hard to not forget. But then again, Rey Mysterio did die, so they might need to take the title off of him.
So I will take Cesaro, E, because you gotta have him on the show. Rollins for sure. And I will say, I think Nakamura's, unless they do Nakamura or Corbin, which odds are they probably will. I'm gonna put Ziggler in that.
Okay.
I'm Ziggler, E, Rollins, Cesaro.
Well,
that's my final.
Or Chris Anthony Lopez changes his mind for a 4th time. A lot of our picks when it comes to this match, as you could tell, we were very eager to talk about this 3rd segment, and that's because
it's the first
we are
show.
Talking some early SummerSlam predictions. I mean, I feel like anything that is going on right now in the WWE is leading up to whatever it is that we're going to be getting.
I've heard rumors and speculation that this show will be bigger than WrestleMania. They're going to treat it as if it's bigger than that. At least because this is the first big show where fans are back doing it in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. And when I was in Vegas briefly before I went to WatCon in March, and again, it's super weird that I took a flight from Oklahoma City to Vegas, Vegas to Cleveland, Cleveland to Denver, Denver to Oklahoma City. That was my weekend. But I got to see Allegiant Stadium. It's the Death Star, and it's nuts. And it's on a Saturday. It's a Saturday SummerSlam, which is nuts. So they're going to stack the hell out of this show. They're going to stack this mofo.
Right.
And now, what do you put on this card to make it WrestleMania-esque, a WrestleMania-type show? And the reason why when I told you, or when I pitched this to you, Nick, why we should do this was because John Cena confirmed on multiple different interviews, whether Chris Van Vliet or The Tonight Show, that he is returning to WWE in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
He has not wrestled his last match. He said that verbatim. And all signs point to Roman Reigns. All signs point to Roman Reigns. I think it's a conclusion that the main event of SummerSlam will be for the Universal title, Roman Reigns versus John Cena. I think that is a foregone conclusion. We can set that in stone. If I had to put money on it now, I would. I think that closes your show. Having John Cena's first match back in this new run of WWE, if he sticks around, have it be against Roman Reigns. And of course, Roman's going to beat the hell out of him.
And the only other thing that I could guess would be if Lashley, if they see more longevity in Lashley Brock because Brock will stick around longer. I don't think so.
No, I think if you're gonna promote this show, especially like as of this upload, Fast 9 is coming out, and John Cena is the antagonist of that movie, and I think John Cena's star power eclipses Brock Lesnar's at this point. I think Brock appeases the sports fans because he brings some type of legitimacy to this, but Cena's star is a massive, and he was like especially with a mainstream audience, not just a wrestling audience, like mainstream. He's been in a butt ton of movies the last few years, good movies too. But I think Roman Cena main events, and don't get me wrong, that's sub main events, Lesnar and Lashley, if they go through with that. Mm-hmm. But I'm on the same wavelength as you. Lesnar, Lashley makes sense for your two top belts on your respective brands. Plus, you should keep Lesnar away from Reigns for now. So
unless it's a title unification match, keep them away as far away from each other.
Even then, we don't need any more title unifications. I think WWE's done enough of those.
I'm just saying, don't give me a title unification.
Yeah, please don't. But the rest of the card seems interesting, and I think one thing we can agree on as well is the triple threat for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yes,
Bayley, Banks, Belair. With, I hope to God, Belair being the champ going into that match. I think
that's agree to disagree. But again, if Sasha's going to be getting her heat back, then yeah, that makes sense. I just love Bayley. I thought she was going to beat her in Hell in a Cell.
Bayley's great.
I was just like, that match was fantastic.
That match was good too.
Great way to open the show. Here, I'll throw a curveball your way.
Hit me.
Charlotte versus Becky, Raw Women's Championship.
I'm sorry. Becky will come back for that show, though.
Yes.
I can agree with you there.
Or do you think Rhea versus Charlotte, one last stand, and then Becky?
I think that's at Money in the Bank. I think they're going to, because that match is confirmed. We're getting Rhea, Charlotte, Money in the Bank. And let's end that shit there. It's been, how the fuck do you have a DQ finish at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? Who am I supposed to be rooting for?
Who the hell is the heel?
Who the hell is the heel? And I think that they're going to blow it off at Money in the Bank. I hope to God Rhea goes over. And then maybe at the end of that show in front of a live crowd, like you do that, right?
Oh, I think that's coming.
and Becky comes out and they do a stare down and they point towards the SummerSlam sign. Kidding, but the
hold on.
That's cap. Totally cap. That means lie.
See him point? He's pointing at the SummerSlam sign. So when they have that, I forget where it's at. It's in Dallas, right? Is that where they're having Money in the Bank? But you have Becky, Rhea. You don't have them wrestle each other until SummerSlam. Like, I know they wrestled each other NXT. Great. That was when they had that kick-ass Survivor Series that year. Was it 2019?
Yeah.
Or was it 18? One of those. And it rules. It ruled. But now you get a different Rhea Ripley. You get the man back in front of a live crowd. I think that's what they're waiting for. And bam, that collision at SummerSlam, that shit opens your show. You have the man open your show. And maybe, just maybe, you can have her beat Rhea, depending on how I feel that day. But as of right now, I think Rhea should be the top dog in the women's division on Raw. You don't have her drop the belt to Charlotte. Hell no, please, for the love of God. And you have Becky. You make her look good going into the pay-per-view, like look good as hell. But then she loses to Rhea Ripley. And maybe that's where Rhea turns heel. And she like does some shenanigans.
I think Becky wins the second you bring her back.
Ooh, I mean, it makes sense. But I don't want that to be the expense of Rhea Ripley.
Heel heat, whoever wins it on the Raw side cashes in on it.
Or because since they're doing shows, you can have people jump shows, and we're getting a draft soon, presumably after SummerSlam. So maybe that's what you can really play around with. We're getting a cash in. I think it's another early prediction. We're getting a cash in of some kind, men or women. Someone's cashing in. I don't think we'll get a same day cash in like a Dean Ambrose-esque. I don't think we're gonna do that. It'd be fun to pop the crowd in Texas, but I think you should hold that off until SummerSlam, unless you have someone like Big E win it on the SmackDown side and you have him cash in on Roman. I think that'd be. I would lose my damn mind when we do the Wrestle Real watch along of SummerSlam. We'll whoever the hell's with us, we'll all lose our collective shit at the same time. Right, and I can't wait for Goldberg to come back for that show too.
I can't wait for Goldberg to win Money in the Bank.
But
and then cash in on Roman Reigns.
That's like worst case scenario. Imagine like he just spoke
goes
that
up to the briefcase and looks at it and goes, "You're next." And then he bashes his head against it over and over again.
And cusses himself. But
look at him with that crisp red belt. Oof.
Yeah, that outdated as red belt. So Reigns Cena main events to me. I think that's your main event. Especially with how they can promote it. And if Cena does come back for the first SmackDown in front of a live crowd, that'd be freaking insane. And you have the main event. You have to point this at the SummerSlam sign. Bang! It's gonna be awesome. Or you do that at Money in the Bank. You can have that. You can have the Money in the Bank SummerSlam sign point. I'm set.
That's cap.
I'm set on that. I'm committed to the SummerSlam sign. You do Lashley Lesnar on the Raw side. I think that's also, if Lesnar comes back, it's a foregone conclusion. But what if Lesnar's not there? Who do you have Lashley face if Lesnar's not there?
Whoever is cashing in on him?
Because we also have to keep in mind that Lesnar is not a foregone conclusion like Cena. Like Cena's a given.
Oh my.
Lesnar.
Push my boy. No, I don't know. Drew McIntyre?
Again? I think that no, because he lost the Hell in a Cell.
Literally cannot happen anymore.
Right, that literally can't happen. Wyatt?
I think Wyatt McIntyre is the match. I think, I was gonna rapid fire off some matches. Wyatt McIntyre was one of them.
I like that.
Maybe the Dirty Dogs or somebody for the tag team. It's like I'm more worried about. I think Riddle versus Sheamus for the for the United States Championship. That could be a match.
Oh, you can do McIntyre Sheamus.
McIntyre Sheamus would not hate it because McIntyre
They beat the
would
hell out
actually
of each
bring
other
some
on Raw like a
confidence
month ago.
to the United States Championship.
And it won't be a demotion. If anything, you'd be elevating the US belt at the same
Right.
time. Remember your pitch on Hardy and Wyatt? I'm kind of married to that.
I just don't think it's going to happen. Hardy's been off TV.
All it takes is one show, man.
And then, I'll throw a couple more out there. It's like, what do you do with Seth Rollins? Because I always kind of thought Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns was going to be your match, but then
that's
John Cena's
inevitable.
coming back, and it's like, well, how do you not have that?
Rollins might win Money in the Bank, dude.
I say the Master of Drip versus Shinsuke Nakamura would be pretty good. I say Cesaro takes the Intercontinental title off of Apollo Crews. And
I'm liking this.
Maybe throw an NXT Championship match on the main show.
Sheesh! Throw some Karrion Kross action?
Who do I want? You know what? Here, I'll throw one at you. Who do I want to face Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship? Karrion Kross.
Wow. That would imply that do you have him drop the belt before SummerSlam?
No.
Do you have the first NXT WWE champion?
Yes.
And it's Karrion Kross? That's one hell of a rub. One hell of a rub, Nick Mulbach.
Well, it's just because it's like I'm looking at this Raw roster and I'm just going, They don't have enough legitimate stars for me to really believe that anybody could face against Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. Here's if you want my biggest, craziest prediction for SummerSlam is that he beats the ever-living hell out of whoever he faces against at Money in the Bank, and he's riding this huge wave into SummerSlam, and then we hear, "Go!"
Oh, shit.
And then Daniel Bryan makes his Raw debut. Because they've been keeping him off TV. Whether or not he's actually a WWE superstar at this point, I don't know.
I think he is. I think he'll resign.
Or Velveteen Dream. I just saw him on your cover, so I'm like, maybe he could.
Right. All these folks. Let's see who isn't with the company anymore.
Nick Mulbach is canceled this episode.
He's fat!
Lars Sullivan, Aleister Black, EC3, and Velveteen Dream. No, that's it. Everybody else is still here in some way, shape, or form. But okay. I love just to address what you said. I love Cesaro Cruz. Great. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm kind of married to McIntyre or Sheamus now. But at the same time, what do you have the Fiend do? I think Fiend, I like Wyatt McIntyre too.
Fiend Lashley, then.
If that's the
in
case,
a realistic idea.
If Lesnar's not there, I think the Fiend's your best option. And I legitimately think it's your best option. And trust me, I'd be the first person to be like, oh, what the hell are they doing with the Fiend? But I think it's a good idea to have the Fiend or Bray Wyatt wrestle Bobby Lashley if Lesnar's not there. But if Lesnar's there, I'll book it now. You can just announce it and we'll be there, right? You have, if there's no McIntyre, you have him face Sheamus US belt. Yes, please have McIntyre go over because Sheamus had that belt for God knows how long. And the tag matches, Styles and Omos need to drop them damn belts to an actual tag team. And who? If they're still together at that point.
Right.
Or the Viking Raiders, somebody like that. The SmackDown belts, I think the Usos will have them by then. And you can have them wrestle probably the Mysterios again. That's fine. That match will be good. There's no way Charlotte isn't on the card, though. Son of a bitch. They're going to do another triple threat with Charlotte and Becky and just include Rhea this time. Fine. As long as Rhea or Becky go over. It's not that I dislike Charlotte. I love Charlotte. I think Charlotte's great. But come on. Rhea should have that belt for a minute. She should. Until Liv Morgan wins Money in the Bank and she cashes out on Rhea Ripley. I like the idea better than freaking.
Oh, I love the idea of it. I don't believe it is why I'm trying. Oh, sorry. Should I have just?
That's cap.
There you go.
Sorry, instead of just because like I love Liv Morgan, but it's like you got a better chance of Ruby Riott coming back and beating Rhea Ripley than you got. My big surprise Rhea Ripley opponent.
Paycheck.
That'd be one hell of a pop. Oh my god.
Did you miss me?
Yo, big pop in the Wrestle Real chat. I would lose my damn mind. The one thing that I loved what the hell you just said was Karrion Kross. And I feel like if it's not at SummerSlam, it'll be by the end of September. That man will be on the WWE main roster. You know why?
Why?
Because of a high spot, baby. Let's do it.
Oh shit.
Let's talk about Nick. You had mentioned to me before the show.
That was beautiful.
This is your high spot.
Yes.
Or it's more of a collective because I guarantee we'll have. Because I got thoughts on everything. I'm a chatty Cathy. I'm sorry.
Well,
but Nick, please take the floor.
I'll start off with this. I found a Twitter account that tweeted out images of WWE that you have to see to believe, like you don't believe actually happened. Mm-hmm. It was very intriguing. I was sending some of them to Chris. It reminds me that one of the first main events of WWE main event was Sheamus versus CM Punk, World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus versus WWE Champion CM Punk. I think it turned into a tag team match because that's how all those things end up going.
Right, they can't pick someone to go over.
The Undertaker, but at some point WWE was like looking at main event, going, "Oh wow, we have something here," right? And then main event actually happened, and it started to take off, and it became the Mansoor show, where it became Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali over and over and over and over and over and over again. You know, they're ever going to stop fighting, even though the two of them can put up a good match with each other. Or Jinder Mahal versus Jeff Hardy out of nowhere. Like, if it's as big of a joke as we know that it is at this point, right? Why is Karrion Kross and presumably also Bronson Reed making their main roster debuts, which Bronson Reed has been more or less confirmed that it's going to happen, on WWE main event? By the way, Scarlett Bordeaux ain't with Karrion Kross when he makes his debut.
Okay. So you send me these photos, and it's Shelton Benjamin versus Karrion Kross and Drew Gulak versus Bronson Reed. Okay, weird, but okay. Now, I don't mind this as much as other folks would, because I think this is more so like an NXT showcase, because you do have your North American champion and your NXT champion, and I'm not too concerned about this. But with that being said, is this some hardcore foreshadowing? Because we know that Vince loves his big sweaty men. Like we know Vince loves that shit. Karrion Kross, I'm a big fan of Going in Raw, the podcast. And Steve from that show, he said in one of his videos, and I couldn't agree more with the statement. He said that Karrion Kross's NXT championship reign should have never even started. It should have never happened. And I'm like, that's blasphemous, Steve. How dare you say that? Karrion Kross is great. And then he proceeds to say, because he never should have went to NXT in the first place. He should have went to the main roster a la AJ Styles.
Yeah, because Killer Kross had a name beforehand. We all knew who he was.
And a second he said that, I'm like, oh my God, that is brilliant, Steve. And I couldn't agree more. Karrion Kross will be on the main roster by the end of this year. It may not be Bronson Reed, maybe not yet, but Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, you don't split them. That's stupid. Don't split them. I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
They benefit each other. They elevate each other. Keep them together. And Lord knows you need more ladies on Raw, for the love of God. But Karrion Kross, question is, who do you have him drop the belt to? If you have him drop the belt to anybody, he could just be like, I'm a relinquish my belt and throw it in the trash, a la Medusa. But I'm over here thinking to myself, when they have the draft after SummerSlam, Karrion Kross will be a top tier draft pick to Monday Night Raw. Because Lord knows they need him. They need main event talent because they lack it somehow. When you have folks like AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Sheamus, I think, is a main eventer. Still, in my opinion, is he winning all the belts anytime soon? No. But I think it's still a guy you could put in the main event and it succeed. But you lack main event stars and fresh faces. You somehow ruined the Fiend and all his momentum. So bring in somebody who's new and that the crowd would adore. That's Karrion Kross. And when you had mentioned to me before the show started, you're like, "Oh, yo, Chris, I want the high spot ski of the week to be Karrion Kross and Bronson Reed on main event." I'm like, "Word." I'm so glad you mentioned that because I kind of forgot that existed. Mm-hmm. Karrion Kross should have gone to the main roster from the jump. I think he overshadows NXT. Granted, he's great on there. I love what he's doing over there. I think it's great. But he's too much of a monster, dude.
And that's why I brought him up in the SummerSlam thing, is just because like I could realistically see him going to the main roster and automatically just kind of contending. You know what I mean? Especially after we get rid of Braun Strowman, who, by the way, Adam Shear looks freaking Jesus.
Pulled Otis.
He's swole right now. He looks like Rusev, or he looks like Miro. Sorry. No AEW talk, by the way.
No AEW, maybe next week.
But you know, it's like Karrion Kross seemed like a guy who already should be on the main roster. I don't know what the rest of Bronson Reed's future has in store for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Karrion Kross, definitive main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, you know, it's so strange because, you know, do you feel like a lot of these wrestlers are overstaying their welcome in NXT right now, to the point that when they debut on the main roster, will it even be that special? When was the last time a person debuted from the main roster that wasn't, you know, Retribution?
Oh God. Okay, so the last time an NXT superstar debuted and it like meant something? Is that what you're like? Is that what you're trying to? Not Retribution. I shouldn't say that. Oh my God. Keith Lee.
And it's almost like you forgot, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue, is that, like, you know, and that's one of the reasons why when I brought up the idea that they made their debut on main event, it's like, I understand there's no fans right now, so the second that they do make their debut, it will actually mean something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just kind of like, what? Like, could you imagine?
It's definitely weird.
The SmackDown, this first SmackDown Live that is supposed to be this huge show because fans will be back and they're touring again, and Roman Reigns and John Cena are having their stare down, and then Karrion Kross makes his way down to the ring. I'd shit myself, honestly.
That'd be insane. Insane.
But, you know, and I agree with your point. I just wanted to bring up, you know, this because I wanted to know, was this a demotion? Was this what does this mean for everything to come? But Chris, I'm going to take this one today. Did we miss anything? Other than this,
Been Boaz for a long time.
Been Boaz. Do we miss anything? Not from what we had chatted about. We got through our Money in the Bank. We attempted to fill out the rest of those matches.
They're not shoving Eva Marie down our throats. It's kind of nice.
Oh, that's the thing that happened, ain't it? So by the way, they renamed Piper Dewdrop. It's so dumb. And they had her turn on Eva Marie within a week. Oh my god. Okay. It's not too late to fix Eva Marie, guys, but damn it. Nick, maybe that's what we can do next week. We can each try to fix Eva Marie. Already. She's been here for a week. But I don't think we missed anything. Raw was, besides the Dewdrop shit.
Dewdrop?
Besides the Eva Marie stuff, Raw was, I got hair in my mouth. Oh, Raw was surprisingly.
What did I say about Dewdrop?
That's paper. That's cap.
That's cap. I love that shit. Besides that, no, Raw was surprisingly good. We got through the Diamond Mine, Money in the Bank, Summerslam. I think we're good. But yes, are you muted, Nick? Did you mute your mic? Or are you just in shock?
Dewdrop.
Yep. Yes, Nick. Make sure you go ahead and follow us down in our social medias below, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Nick and I, we chat wrestling on there from time to time, but of course you can catch us every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, right here on Watt Real Entertainment. And next week, a little bit of a spoilie. We may look a little bit different next week, so we'll see how that goes. Check out our 250 subscriber special that's going down tomorrow. Tomorrow. At 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, we will be live on the channel, just talking. We should be hanging out, doing some celebrating because we hit 250 subs, and it's a big deal to us. It may not sound like a lot, but we will be there because I mean, all the incredible content we have on the channel. I mean, Nick and I, we like to think that we do a pretty good job here on Wrestle Real every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. I don't know. I was informed that some type of version of Real Talk will be happening on Sunday. So, no,
I said,
yeah. So good. That 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
I won't be there.
Spoiler. Yeah, I heard it. I heard it may be Fast and the Furious, from what I understand.
Listen, here's the thing: is that there's going to be a lot of time where I'm not available for Real Talk this summer, just because of some events going on and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I told Matt, feel free to do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. If you want to go back to the original show format, if I'm not there, and then you go right ahead, because it's not, people liked it. People like what we do right now, so it's just whatever we want to do. It's going to be Fast and the Furious. I ain't going to say that's cap.
That's cap.
And that's why when I said my bit at the top of the show, like, things are going to change. And like tomorrow at our subscriber thing, we will be changing some things up for the better of the show. If y'all saw on Thursday, we did our Loki review. You can catch those every Thursday. Suge and I are talking some Loki because we are some real geeks. But really scared. Spin for the Real. Spin for the Real Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, our Schmodown reaction show. But really scared is on hiatus because of some stuff that Connor and Taylor they're rocking with. And as of right now, it's only through July. So hopefully we'll see a Really Scared return in August, because I know I'm jonesing to go back and talk some Idle Hands and/or Scream. But we'll get there when we get there. But you can check out the reason why Taylor posted a video on our channel. And he went in detail about why Really Scared is going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus. But things are changing. Life's coming back. But we're going to be here. Really Scared, here. When they get back, they're going to be better than ever. Wrestle Real, we'll be here. Spin for the Real, we'll be here. And
you want to know why? Want to know why we'll all be together?
Been Boaz for a long time.
Because we've been Boaz.
Because we've all been a Boaz.
But Boaz.
That said,
yes,
it's late here. My brother's in the other room trying to go to bed, I'm sure. For the Enforcer, CAL, Chris Anthony Lopez, I am Dewdrop. Thank you all for dealing with another pre-recorded episode of Wrestle Real. We appreciate you, because you want to know why, fans?
Boaz for a long time.
Even Boaz.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody.
And that's the bottom line.